Hey Brianna, here's a quick review of what we talked about yesterday, and then I'm going to move into the next type of problem that you're going to have to do for this standard. So remember yesterday we talked about problems like number 10 where you have to find a GCF. And so I always look at the numbers first, and I can see in this case that I have an 18 and a 6. 6 is smaller than 18. And we checked to see if 18 was divisible by 6, and we got 3 as our answer, so that tells us we can pull the 6 out. And then we looked at the exponents. We had an x squared, and we had an x to the first, and the smaller one is the x to the first, so we pulled that out, and that's how we got our GCF of 6x. Then when we pull the 6x out, we say that's what we're dividing each of the terms by. So if I take 18x squared and divide it by 6x, 18 divided by 6 is 3. That's where the 3 came from. And x squared, take away 1x, leaves me with an x. So that's how I got a 3x in the first place. And then the second term, if I do 6x divided by 6x, obviously I get just a 1 there. And my sign was a minus sign, so I just brought that down. The second type of problem we looked at was if we had the difference of squares. And you'll know you have that if each of the terms is a perfect square. And the easiest way to check for that is to look at the terms. For instance, x squared. If we think about what's the square root of x squared, it's just x, so that works. And then we looked at the second number, which was 36, and I think you used your calculator. What's the square root of 36? You get a whole number 6, so that tells me that I can factor this as the difference of squares. And the other thing you want to remember is it has to be a minus sign. If it's a plus sign, it won't work. But since it's a minus sign, I can go ahead and factor this. The square root of x squared is x. So that means there's going to be an x in the first set of parentheses, in the first place of each set of parentheses. And then the 36, the square root of that is 6. So that means I put a 6 in the second place of each set of parentheses. And because I have a minus sign, that means the signs have to be opposite, plus and minus, and you're done. So those are the first two ways: GCF, greatest common factor, and difference of squares. Now for the next two problems that we talked about, the first thing you should always do is check for a GCF, because any of these problems could have a GCF. But if you see that the first term or any of the terms have just a 1, like this very first term is just 1x squared, and that one of the terms, in this case the 30, doesn't have the variable, then there is no GCF. So you go straight to just breaking it down. You put your two sets of parentheses, and you start with the first term, which is the x squared, and you can just break that down with an x and an x. And then you go to the last term, which in this case happens to be a 30, and we have to pay attention to that sign also, that it's a minus 30. And we say, what are the ways to multiply and get 30? Well, 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 doesn't go, 5 and 6. And then we said, how do we know which of those pairs to choose? Well, because this is a minus sign in front of the 30, we want the pair that differ by our middle number, which is a 7. And so we said, 10 minus 3 is 7. So I'm going to use the 10 and the 3. And then remember, when I do 10 times 3, I want to get negative 30, not positive 30. So I have to make these signs opposite, just like I did with difference of squares. So since the signs have to be opposite, the bigger number will get the middle term sign, and that left the smaller number, in this case, with a plus sign. And then if we look at number 13, it's very similar. We have a 1 in front of the x squared, and the last number is a 10 that doesn't have an x, so there's no GCF here. So when we go to break this down, we're going to use x times x to get our x squared, and then for the 10, we say, okay, 1 times 10 could work, 2 times 5. And those are the only two ways to multiply and get 10. So how do we know which one to choose? Now we have a plus sign in front of the 10. So we want the numbers to add to that middle number 7, which means we're going to use the 2 and the 5. And it doesn't matter where you put the 2 and the 5, as long as you give them the right signs. Now, the nice thing about this one is it's a plus sign. That means both numbers, the bigger number and the smaller number, will get the middle term sign, which in this case happens to be a minus sign, and you're done. Okay, so that's how you would do number 12 and number 13. Just a reminder there. So the next problem I want to talk to you about is number 14, Abriana. Now, this is the one we didn't get to yesterday, but before I start showing you what to do with number 14, I want to point out the difference between number 14 and a problem like number 12, which we did do yesterday. And the difference is, if you notice, number 14, there's a number in front of x squared. With number 12, there was no number there, which means it's just a 1 and we don't bother to write it. And that number being a 1 is simpler than when it's a number other than 1, like in number 14. So with number 12, we were able to go straight to the parentheses and just break down the 30. But in this case, because that's a 3 and not a 1, we're not going to be able to just look at the 10 and break it down. So I'm going to show you another method how to deal with it when that number is a 3 or any other number other than a 1. What you're going to do is you're going to make what's called a punted square. So a punted square is used in biology class. I don't know if you've seen it, but all it is a square, and then you just put like a T in the middle of it to create 4 smaller squares. And then what you do is we're going to fill in those squares. So we're going to start with the 3x squared, the first term, and we're just going to put that in the top left-hand square. Then we're going to go to the last term, which in this case is a negative 10, and we're going to put that in the bottom right-hand square. And then we're going to multiply those two things together. Now, this is like number 12. You might say, well, number 12, we didn't multiply. We just immediately said, oh, x squared breaks down into x and x. And then we said that then we looked at the 30 and said, what are the different ways to break down 30? But really, we were looking at the 1 times the 30. It's just that 1 times 30 is still 30. So we have to look at the 3 and the 10. And I'm actually going to take into account the negative sign too, because we know that matters when we go to fill the signs in. Like right here, because that was a negative 30, we knew we had to have a plus and a minus sign. And that's going to be the same thing that happens with number 14. So when I do 3 times negative 10, I'm going to get negative 30. And it's actually, there's an x squared there also. So it's really negative 30x squared. And I'm going to think about how to break down negative 30. Well, just like we did before, we're going to have 1 and 30. So this part is the same. 2 and 15. 3 and 10. 4 doesn't go, but 5 and 6 work, okay? So now we have to also think about, though, I want to get a negative 30. So that means one of these is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative. And I still need them to, let me clean this top part up a little bit for you. So I still need whichever 2 pairs I pick, whether I pick 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and so forth, I still need them to differ or subtract that middle number, which in this case is 13. So you can check that in your calculator, but 30 minus 1 will not work because 30 minus 1 is 29. 15 minus 2, oh, there we go, we have our winner. 15 minus 2 is 13. So, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to put the 2 up here and the 15 down here, but it wouldn't matter if you put the 15 where I have the 2 and the 2 where I have the 15. It makes no difference. But what does matter is because this is a negative, we're trying to get a negative 30, I have to make sure that the bigger number, that the numbers are going to be opposite, and that the bigger number gets the middle term sign. That means the 15 is going to stay positive and the 2 is going to be negative. And then the other thing is, because this was 30x squared, I'm going to give each of them an x. So here's the deal. The first term when you fill it in will be exactly like the first term was in the trinomial. The last term when you fill it in will be exactly like it was in the trinomial. Then the 2 middle terms, it will depend, but they will both always have an x, okay? But those middle numbers and what sign they have, you're going to decide just like you've always decided. It's going to depend on the sign on the last number and the sign on the middle number. And we're going to do a couple more examples like this. But let me just finish this problem up for you. So now that you've filled in the Punnett square, the last step here to get this factored is to just pull out the GCF, which you should be comfortable with now because we've been doing that. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go sideways. In other words, I'm going to look at these two terms. So what do 3 and -2 have in common? Nothing. The smallest number that goes into 3 and -2 is a 1. I'm not going to pull it out. But notice they both have an x. That means I can pull an x out. I can't pull an x squared out because the -2x is only to the first power. So I just pulled out the GCF there. I didn't pull out the negative sign because the 3 doesn't have it, only the 2 does. Now I'm going to go to the next row. I have a 15 and a -10. I can't pull the negative sign out because the 15 doesn't have it. I can't pull an x out because the 10 doesn't have it. 10's the smaller number. It doesn't go into 15. But 5 goes into 15, which is even smaller than 10, and 5 goes into 10. So 5, the 10 that I'm looking at, this next number that goes into 10 is 5, and that also goes into 15, so I can pull a 5 out. Now I'm going to go the other way, so I'm going to use a different color. Now I'm going to look at this way, long ways, if you will. They both have an x, so I can pull out the x. 3, the smaller number, goes into 15, so I can pull the 3 out. There's no negative sign, so I'm just going to pull out the 3x. Now when I go to the next vertical, and I really should start with the number that we've been doing, I apologize. I have a -2 and a -10. That means I can pull out the negative sign because they both have it. 2, the smaller number, goes into 10, so I can pull the 2 out. But I can't pull the x out because they don't both have it, okay? Now I'm done, actually. So I know that what I'm going to put for my final answer is x plus 5. I know it's plus 5 because there's no minus sign. So it's going to be x plus 5. And then it's going to be 3x minus 2. Now I know this is a lot longer than 11 and 12 were, or 12 and 13 were. But we're going to do a couple more like this. So hang on, I'm going to do another example. Actually, Abriana, this video is getting long. YouTube limits me to 15 minutes. So I'm going to start a new video. I'm going to send you, you're going to watch this one, and then there'll be another one that comes shortly, okay?